right, so today's speaker is Buzz Jacobs. Buzz is a former White House advisor for Bush 43 and a three-time presidential campaign strategist for Bush, McCain, and Marco Rubio, with experience operating at the intersection of politics, business, and public leadership. He has advised national campaigns and executives navigating high-stakes environments where strategy, messaging, and execution are inseparable. An AI entrepreneur, Buzz has built platforms such as Red Voice AI, applying custom AI-powered systems to expand capability across politics and business. He is the best-selling author of Prepare, Launch, and Win, and a graduate of Harvard University. Today, he partners with CEOs and institutional leaders to clarify strategy, shape high-stakes narratives, and implement AI-enabled operating systems that produce measurable, lasting results. Please help me welcome Buzz.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So thank you for having me. Thank you for the kind introduction. And David, thank you for the invitation to speak. And I'd like to thank everyone in this room for the time, the talent, the treasure that you give to this organization and to our community. You make a lot of things run in this county, and probably in a thankless way. And so let me thank you for myself and for the others that don't even know what you do. So may God bless you all. And so as I was preparing what to say today, I was thinking about the type of people who join Kiwanis. And I came to the conclusion that Kiwanis is full of builders. People who don't just talk about problems, you organize, fund, and fix them. You strengthen institutions. You invest in kids. You take ideas and you turn them into outcomes. You care deeply about our community. So I want to start with a statement that will sound obvious in hindsight. Artificial intelligence is shifting from a technology into an infrastructure. Not an app, not a trend. Infrastructure like roads, electricity, and public schools. Because it changes the baseline of what a community and its citizens can accomplish. And given that, we need to consider a fact and a question. And the undeniable fact is, we are now living in an AI world. The only question is whether Manatee County shapes how our community uses it deliberately or gets shaped by it accidentally. And that's the lens for today. This isn't a tech talk, it's a leadership talk. Because AI doesn't replace judgment, it multiplies it. It multiplies clarity or confusion. It multiplies strong systems or broken ones. So the communities that treat AI as a leadership priority will pull ahead in education, public services, and local prosperity. The communities that treat it as a contraband or as a novelty will fall behind quietly and then suddenly, and I would argue sharply. So before I go further, I want to make one quick point of context so you understand where I'm coming from. As I was kindly introduced, I've spent years operating in high-stakes environments, the White House, presidential campaigns, politics, and business, where strategy, messaging, and execution are inseparable. And more recently, I've built and deployed AI-enabled systems to turn attention into action and to turn messy inputs into usable intelligence and follow-through. This isn't theoretical for me, it's operational. And I'll share one detail only because it's relevant. I recently learned that OpenAI categorized me in the top 1% of ChatGPT users worldwide by sustained usage. And either that means I needed to go outside more, but it wasn't a goal or a stunt in all seriousness. It happened because I use tools like ChatGPT every single day, multiple times a day, to pressure test decisions, to accelerate workflows, and build systems that would otherwise require a much larger team. In fact, I would argue that my productivity has increased 10, 20, 30, maybe 40-fold because of AI. And so what surprised me wasn't the power of the technology. What surprised me was what it revealed about leadership and readiness. And so the first lesson that I would give you from my experience is that AI is a brutal mirror for clarity. Most organizations don't have a tool problem. They have a clarity problem. AI punishes vague thinking. If the goal is fuzzy, the output is fuzzy. If assumptions are weak, the cracks show. If you don't know what good looks like, you can't get there. And AI will not rescue you from that. AI forces questions leaders should be asking anyway. What outcome are we actually driving? What constraints matter? What does success look like in measurable terms? What would make this fail? AI doesn't replace leadership, it demands it. And once you see that, you start noticing something. The gap between high-performing organizations and struggling ones is often not talent. It's not even funding, it's clarity, alignment, and follow-through. And the second lesson, the one that most people miss, is AI accelerates systems. It doesn't fix them. AI makes strong systems stronger. It makes weak systems fail faster, often with more confidence. I've used AI, as I mentioned, to compress work that used to take days into hours, drafting and revising complex messaging, designing workflows so follow-up doesn't fall through the cracks, building and troubleshooting software systems faster, and structuring plans and decision support without endless meetings. But the win didn't come from AI magic. The win came from operational honesty. AI forces you to confront where the system breaks, where handoffs are sloppy, where accountability is unclear, where data is messy, where people are compensating for process failures with heroics. That matters in business, and it matters even more in government and education. Because if you put AI at the top of a broken civic process, you don't get a smarter process. You get a faster failure. And my third lesson, this is where I believe the real advantage lives. The big advantage of AI is iteration. And that's really, truthfully, what drove me, apparently, to the top of the 1% of ChatGPT users. Because most institutions, maybe people too, don't lose because they make one catastrophic decision. They lose because they learn too slowly. AI compresses that learning loop, significantly compresses that learning loop. Draft, critique, revise, plan, stress test, refine, assumption, check, adjust. When iteration becomes cheap, improvement becomes scalable. That's why I consider AI to be infrastructure. AI changes the speed at which a community can learn and improve if leaders decide to use it that way. Now, if you accept that premise, the next question becomes unavoidable. What happens to communities when highly intelligent iteration, as I call it, becomes widely scalable and widely available? I would argue two things happen at the same time. First, the communities that train people to use AI responsibly get a capability dividend. Their students learn faster. Their small businesses operate with more leverage. Their nonprofits reclaim time from admin work. Their public service becomes easier to navigate. Public services become easier to navigate. Second, and contrarily to that, the communities that treat AI primarily as a hazard to be contained develop the opposite, a capability gap. Because talent moves, entrepreneurs cluster, employers follow workforce readiness, families move towards school systems that prepare kids for the real world. That's the civic challenge. Will AI widen the gap between communities or help close it? And that depends on leadership. Because if the public posture is fear and restrictions alone, here's what happens. The biggest institutions still adopt AI because they can afford compliance and legal review. The least accountable actors still adopt AI because they ignore the rules. And everyone else, schools, nonprofits, small businesses, local government, gets squeezed in the middle. That is accidental inequality. It's the opposite of what a healthy community wants. Which brings me here to Florida. Right now, Tallahassee legislators are debating an artificial intelligence bill of rights. You may have heard about it. And much of the public conversation is centered on restrictions, protections, and limits. And let me be clear, protection obviously matters. Privacy protections matter, fraud protections matter, child safety protections matter, accountability matters. But here's the leadership mistake I want to challenge. If our posture becomes AI is dangerous, so restrict it, we train society to fear capability. And when citizens fear capability, only the biggest institutions and the worst actors end up using it well. So Florida, I would argue, needs an additional posture, not instead of protections, but alongside them. An AI Bill of Rights that empowers responsible adoption. The right to AI fluency, the right to access tools and training, the right for schools and counties to use AI responsibly under human oversight, the right for small organizations to compete and not get regulated out of the game, the right for citizens to benefit from better public services, not just be protected from innovation. That's how you protect people and build capacity at the same time. Now you might be thinking, okay, so what does that look like here in Manatee County? Not in a white paper, not in an academic panel, but here in Manatee County. And this is where I want to move from analysis to a challenge. I'm not here to simply describe the future. I'm here to lay down a challenge for all of you to help make Manatee County America's first AI-powered community. Not as a slogan, as an operating model. And here's what I mean in plain English. An AI-powered community treats AI as civic infrastructure by teaching it, governing it, and deploying it measurably to improve education, public services, and local prosperity. And the good news is, Manatee County isn't starting from zero. The county has already launched Cortez, you may have noticed it on the website, which is an AI chatbot that helps residents get answers faster. And there's momentum around modernizing service delivery. It's a small start, admittedly, but it's an important start nonetheless. Now the question is whether we unify and escalate, whether we turn isolated tools into a county-wide advantage. Most communities will talk about AI literacy for kids. That's too small for what's coming. AI fluency is not a unit in a class. It's a life skill, like writing, math, and basic financial literacy. If we treat it as optional, we are choosing to graduate kids into a world where they are not equipped to compete. So here is the education centerpiece of my proposed AI-powered community initiative. AI Centers of Excellence in every Manatee County school, plus one bold public pilot campus to prove what's possible with AI in public education. An AI Center of Excellence is not a room with new gadgets, a single teacher appointed to figure out AI, or teachers working independently to guide AI usage in the classrooms. It's a model, a system that makes every school an AI-capable institution by elevating teachers, strengthening student judgment, encouraging student usage, and integrating AI into daily learning responsibly. An AI Center of Excellence includes an AI lead at each school, a teacher or staff champion who is empowered and incentivized to train and guide adoption, an approved set of tools and guardrails that encourage students to use AI, that teaches them how to use AI to be more efficient and effective at school at home, not just to do research. And I can tell you, my daughter's about to enter high school next year, and we've been to a number of the schools, the public schools, and I asked that question about AI, and it's often done with kind of an arm's length distance. Well, we encourage them to do it for research, but it's more than that, and it needs to be. The AI Center of Excellence would also include teacher enablement, so educators can reduce administrative overload and personalize instruction at scale. Student AI portfolios, real projects demonstrating responsible use, research, writing, planning, entrepreneurship, civic problem solving, explicit instruction in verification and critical thinking so students don't outsource their minds. The outcome is the goal: graduates who know how to use AI as a co-pilot, as a partner in their personal and professional lives, but with judgment and integrity. That's what we need to build in our students. Now, in addition to putting together an AI Center of Excellence at every school, we need one flagship proof point, a program that shows what's possible when you redesign education around the reality of AI. You may have heard, this is really interesting if you haven't heard about it, you may have heard about AI first school models, being discussed nationally, including one called the Alpha School. Has anybody here heard of the Alpha School? No, okay, so you're gonna get a real interesting learning lesson. What makes Alpha feel revolutionary is that it flips the traditional school day on its head. Alpha's promise is simple and provocative. Learn 2 times as much in 2 hours. 2 times as much in 2 hours. Our kids go to school, 6 hours a day? But Alpha says students complete core academics in about 2 hours daily through advanced technology and mastery-based learning. Yes, again, 2 hours. They do something even more important. They treat time as the most valuable asset in education, because it is. It's the most valuable asset for all of us. Alpha describes their model where the rest of the day isn't filled with more worksheets. So beyond the 2 hours, it's invested in what they call limitless life skills. They describe about 4 hours daily of immersive workshops in real-world capabilities. Everything from public speaking and storytelling to financial literacy, brand building, and even learning how to learn. They frame it as giving students the gift of time. And it appears to be working. Alpha reports 2.6x growth. On average, Alpha says their students grow 2.6 times faster than peers on nationally normed tests. 99th percentile, they say the majority of students consistently outperform national averages, putting them in the top 1%, and up to 6.5x growth for their best performing students. Now, I'm not asking any of you to take any single metric on faith. I'm just asking you to recognize the direction of what's coming. When learning becomes personalized and mastery-based at scale, we can reclaim time for our kids to learn skills and leadership. And that makes them better citizens, stronger performers, and more prepared for the world they encounter as adults. But here's the catch on that, and it's a big one. Alpha's tuition is about $40,000 a year. Their financial guide makes clear it's an all-in private school model, which means it's simply not accessible to most families. So whether you love Alpha or hate Alpha isn't the point. By the way, they're just opening an Alpha school in Tampa. But it started in New York, I believe. The point is the signal. The structure of learning is changing. And if we don't build a public school version that's accessible, accountable, and real, then the future of education becomes something only the wealthy can access. So let's think big. Let's build a public proof point that captures the best of what this model represents without importing the exclusivity. Let's launch Florida's first public AI Acceleration Academy, a place where Manatee County can test what an equitable, accountable, human-centered AI-powered learning model can look like with open minds, without hype, and without diminishing the role of our great educators. And let's model this after what appears to be working. AI-powered diagnostic assessments, AI-supported one-to-one practice and feedback, a focused mastery-based core academic block that does free up 60% or more of the day for applied learning, teachers elevated into high-impact coaching and mentorship roles for more personalized learning, and then measurable outcomes and human oversight and accountability. It's not teacherless, it's not unaccountable, it's not a boutique experiment. It's just a public proof point, a model that other districts can learn from, and a model I believe Manatee County can lead. Now education is flagship, and it should be. Our number one priority is our kids and communities, but an AI-powered community doesn't stop at schools. It also needs governance and execution. Otherwise, it becomes fragmented, politicized, or stuck in pilot purgatory. And that's why the initiative has two additional components: a Manatee AI Council and a Civic AI Lab. The AI Council is the stewardship body. It's the Kiwanis of the AI Council. It's the cross-sector, it's practical, it's accountable. It paints the picture of what's possible. The AI Council should be made up of people from schools, county services, nonprofits, businesses, technical operators, and even a youth voice as well. Not symbolic, real. Its job is to set guardrails and priorities, data privacy principles, procurement standards, transparency for citizen-facing uses, human oversight requirements, measurable goals and quarterly priorities, an AI impact scorecard so the public sees outcomes, not hype. And then a second and last component of that is the Civic AI Lab, and that's the builder. I look at AI I look at humans in this relationship with AI as visionaries and as AI as the integrator. And I would view this Civic Lab, AI Lab, as the builder. And every quarter, the AI Lab will ship 1 or 2 civic improvements residents will notice in daily life. For example, an AI tool to help residents navigate services through clearer workflows, better triage, and smarter routing. A nonprofit grant AI tool to reduce administrative drag and increase funding capacity. A hurricane recovery AI tool to speed up decision-making from claims to permits. I mean, how many people got slowed down in when this last hurricane hit our community so hard in the bureaucratic process? Imagine if we had an AI tool to help them on the next storm. And another AI tool to help homeowners get quicker approvals for remodels and new construction. These aren't flashy. They're capability and efficiency wins to help citizens get a better return on the taxpayer dollar. So at this point, the natural question is, who drives this, who convenes, who moves these proposals from an idea into a model? I believe this is where Kiwanis matters. Because Kiwanis is uniquely positioned because you convene leaders who may not normally sit at the same table. And you can translate vision into execution. You've done it before. And especially when the initiative is fundamentally about improving outcomes for kids and strengthening the community. So here's the specific call to action, a challenge that's concrete enough for people to say yes to today. Let's call it the Kiwanis 90-day AI moonshot. It's aggressive, I know, because the AI revolution that's happening is also aggressive, and it's moving extremely fast. So here it is. In the next 30 days, Kiwanis hosts a 90-minute founding roundtable to launch AI-powered Manatee. Name an interim steering group and select 2 initial commitments: the school's Center of Excellence framework and the first civic pilot. And then in the next 60 days, launch the first tangible education steps. Recruit the first wave of school AI leads. Run teacher enablement sessions. Define the student AI portfolio framework, and announce the AI Acceleration Academy pilot. And then in the next 90 days, ship a visible civic win and publish the first AI impact scorecard. What launched, how it's governed, what it improved, what's next. And then the goal by the fall of 2026, Manatee County will have, and the goal is by the fall of 2026, is to have an AI Acceleration Academy proving what's possible in education, an AI Center of Excellence in every school, an AI Governance Council setting responsible guardrails, an AI lab shipping real improvements that make life easier for residents. This wouldn't be a committee that talks. It would be a partnership with our leaders, with our government, and it would be a model that delivers. And if we execute this first, and we execute it responsibly, this is what will happen. We'll become a reference point. Talent will flow towards our community. Businesses will notice and want to operate here. Grant capital will increase and philanthropy will follow. Our counties will copy what we've done because we've led the way. That is how communities compound advantage, not with slogans, but with operating models. And let me close with the simplest version of what I'm saying. AI will not decide whether Manatee County thrives. Leaders will. You will. We can treat AI with fear and trepidation. We can treat it like a toy, or we can treat it like infrastructure and build a countywide advantage around responsible adoption. So the question isn't, do you use AI? The question is, do we want Manatee County to follow the future or define it? I know where I stand, and I hope you will join me on this mission. Thank you. I'm happy to take any questions, and more importantly, I'm happy to work with anyone willing and able to help get this effort off the ground.
Thank you very much, Buzz. That was interesting. Don't go anywhere quite yet. It's a Bradenton Kiwanis tradition to present you with a golden ruler
Okay.
to measure your future success.
Oh. Let me take one. Fabulous. I appreciate it.
Not yet, but it will be in the future.
If the power goes down, you can still measure it.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Buzz. That was very interesting. Are you going to be around for a little bit? Yeah. All right. So anyone else had questions? I know there was a couple other hands up. Feel free to grab Buzz. All right. Thank you everyone for coming today. Please join us next week. We got a whole bunch of things going on next week. Mac's going to do some youth protection training. We have a wonderful video recap of last year of Mike's presidential year. Going to give out ribbons to those who donate to the foundation, and a couple other things. So please be here next week. Hope everyone has a wonderful week. Meeting adjourned.